Namaste. Welcome to the science class. In the topic our environment, today we will be learning about the interaction in the environment. We know that plants and animals are interdependent. Plants can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. And when animals consume the plants, then they get energy. Now here the plants serve as a source of providing energy in animals. In the same way, animals also breathe out carbon dioxide, which is the raw material for photosynthesis, without which the plants cannot prepare their own food. So this is how the plants and animals are interdependent among themselves. Now, today we will be learning about food chain. What do you mean by food chain? Food chain is a chain which involves the consumption of different animals, which actually tells us who eats whom. Here is an example, children. We know that green plants prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. For example, here there is grass, and this grass is eaten by the caterpillar. Now, in turn, this caterpillar is eaten by the frog, and this frog is again eaten by the snake. The snake is eaten by this owl. Now, here this is a food chain wherein the food is prepared in grass and that is consumed by the caterpillar, and in turn each and every organism consumes one or the other organism. So this tells us who eats whom. This is nothing but a food chain. Now here you can see that there are different organisms, and most of these organisms live on land. That is why this food chain, this food chain is called as terrestrial food chain. Terrestrial means land. So here you can see that the food chain actually involves the organisms which are eaten by other organisms and the organisms which eat the other organisms. Now, for example, here you can see that the frog is eaten by snake. So, the organism which is eaten by another organism is actually called as the prey. So in this example, you have frog which is eaten by the snake. So this is called as prey. And the frog is actually eaten by the snake. So the snake eats the frog. So this is called as the predator. So here the energy is transferred from the frog to the snake. So in this way, the food chain also involves the transfer of energy in different organisms. Now, did you observe one very important thing, children? Always this transfer of energy is unidirectional. What do you mean by unidirectional? Means it is directional. Unidirectional. So that means the energy is actually flowing in one direction only. It is never reversed. So here that is one of the characteristic of a food chain. Now this is an example of terrestrial food chain. In the same way, you can see here one more example, that is nothing but the aquatic food chain. What do you mean by aquatic? Aquatic means water. So here are the examples, the different organisms which involve in aquatic food chain. So these are microscopic organisms which are called as planktons. Planktons, children, they may be, if they are plant-like, then they are called as phytoplanktons, and if they are animal-like microscopic organisms present in big water bodies, then they are called as zooplanktons. So planktons we have two types, phytoplanktons and zooplanktons. These planktons serve as food for many other aquatic organisms. Let it be the smaller organism or even the bigger organism. So here you can see that these planktons are eaten by the snail, and in turn the snail is eaten by small fishes, and this fish is eaten by the dolphins. So here the energy is transferred from planktons to snail to the small fish, then to the dolphins. So this is mostly these organisms are present in water, so this type of food chain is called as aquatic food chain. So this is about the food chain. Now here you can see that the grass is the only rather I can say it is a producer, because it can prepare, it is the only organism which can prepare its own food. Okay. So here it is called as a producer, as it can make its own food, and the remaining other organisms which are eating the other organisms, they are coming under one more category which is called as consumers. So here the grass is directly eaten by the caterpillar. Okay. So that is why it is called as a primary consumer. Okay. Now this caterpillar is eaten by the frog. It is called as, the frog is called as the secondary consumer. Now here you see children, always the herbivores will be coming under primary consumers, because they depend on plants directly, they take only plant food. Okay. So that is why they are called as primary consumer. Rest of all the organisms are mostly carnivores or either omnivores. So you see here, the secondary consumers are mainly the carnivores or the omnivores over here. So here you can see the grass as a producer, as it can make its own food, and then you have the primary consumer, secondary consumer. Here the snake is a tertiary consumer and owl is an quaternary consumer. So here the organisms which depend on the producers are called as consumers in general, right. So now in this we have seen that the transfer of energy is taking place. Now here it has been transferred, the energy which was there in plant has been transferred to owl. Now from owl, how the energy is coming back again to plants, that is what we will be learning. This involves many different cycles, especially the mineral cycles. So that is what is over here. So cycle is nothing but a continuous process. So in this mineral cycle we will be learning about how the minerals are being transferred from the biotic components to the abiotic components, and then again from abiotic components to the biotic components. As we have already learned that the green plants are called as producers. So here the energy is there and they act as food to many animals which are called as consumers. Now if these plants and animals are dead, okay, so the minerals are now present in the plants and animals, and these dead plants and animals will be decomposed by microbes like fungi and bacteria. So here the complex organic material are brought into the simple materials over here, are broken down into simple materials over here by the decomposers. In the same way, now these decomposers, as they break down the simple, the complex organic materials into simple minerals, these minerals get mixed up with the soil, and the minerals from the soil are absorbed by the green plants again during photosynthesis. Do you remember children, water is absorbed by the roots during photosynthesis. Along with water, there are many different minerals also present in the soil which are absorbed by the plant and utilized for its growth and other physiological activities. So that is how from abiotic factors you get this abiotic components, you get this minerals back into this green plants, so into the living system. Now we have one more small cycle over here. Now I have already told you that green plants are consumed by the animals. Now animals eat food, they digest the food. During digestion, they get energy, and other than that, there is undigested food also which is eliminated from the body of animals in the form of animal droppings. This is nothing but the fecal matter. Okay, so now this bacteria and fungi, the decomposers, act on these animal droppings, and there are some minerals present in this also. So they are also getting mixed up in the soil, right? So here also we have a small cycle. So in this way you can see that once they get mixed up in the soil, again they are taken up by the green plants for photosynthesis. So this is how you have the continuous sharing of the minerals from the living system to the non-living system, rather the biotic components to abiotic components, and again from abiotic components to the biotic components. So this is very, very essential. Now there is a very dynamic system which is actually maintained by nature to balance oxygen and carbon dioxide. You can see that during photosynthesis, the carbon dioxide is utilized and oxygen is produced as a byproduct. Now this oxygen is taken by the animals during respiration. What do we do, children? We inhale oxygen during respiration. So here what is happening? During respiration, we take in oxygen and leave out carbon dioxide. So this is again taken by the green plants during the process of photosynthesis. So this completes one cycle. Other than that, for burning of any material, you require oxygen, or burning is also called as combustion. So oxygen is very much essential for burning of the different substances. So when that particular substances are actually burnt, then which gas is actually liberated? It is nothing but carbon dioxide. Large amount of carbon dioxide is liberated into the air when anything is burnt. So this carbon dioxide is again utilized by the green plants to photosynthesize and comes back into the cycle. So this is a dynamic way in which the nature actually balances oxygen and carbon dioxide. Hope you have understood the concept. Thank you.